What's up, gang? We are here. We are back with another UFC breakdown. I know I haven't been doing interviews. I just been kind of running these breakdowns. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I haven't finished building my studio downstairs, so I don't really want to have guests over until that's done. I'm gonna do an interview next weekend, though. I'm gonna hit up Joker from Sons of Samoa, which that video did pretty good. I don't know if fight fans are gonna like it, but just in general, that video did good. People just like the gang stuff, man. But yeah, I'm going to be having him on again on this coming weekend. So that should be fun. But after that, I'm hoping I have this place put together around that time and we can start running it back, baby. I also work at two other studios that I film out of. So I'll probably start using those. I got one in Santa Ana, one in LA. It be like that, gang. It be like that. But we are here. We are back with another UFC breakdown. The Oklahoma card, man. I wasn't even gonna tune in on it. I just really wanted to watch the main event, the Usman versus DDP event. But I was like, you know what? Let's check it out. Let's see these other cards. So I did, and man, I was not disappointed, man. I gotta give it up to the matchmaker, man. The matchmakers at UFC have been doing a great job. Great job, gang. But before we get into the fight card, there's just some fight news I want to talk about real quick. I just got three things, you know what I mean? First and foremost, Michelle Pereira, is it Pereira? I think it's Pereira. I think it's pronounced just like Alex Pereira. But Michelle Pereira was recently removed from the UFC roster. Let's check this out. There you go. There we go. Michelle Pereira. I'm bummed, bro. I like this fighter. I liked what he did. Exciting. He's not really like a 3-round fighter. He's kind of like, I'm going to try to get you out that first round. If I can't, then that's pretty much, it's all singles from there. You know what I mean? It's just his style, dude. This guy like jumps off the fence and does some crazy acrobatic stuff in the octagon. He's extremely creative. I like him. I like that stuff, but I also like the flashy stuff. So whenever I get the opportunity to teach a class, I'll always throw something fun in there towards like the end of class. I think last time we did I think it was like swinging back kicks or like side kicks or something. This time I taught them how to do question mark kicks. So that was cool. But so I like that type of style. I like, when you do creative, cool, fun striking. But yeah, he was recently removed. Alex Pereira, the dude that just fought in heavyweight, the Alex Pereira, the GOAT, he had some things to say. He didn't feel like it was fair. He was already I think they threatened to remove him twice already. But dude, it's cool, man. He probably sells tickets, so I don't know. And over here, if you look at the comments, I don't know if you could see this one, but how is Michael Chandler still on the roster asking for a friend? Bro is 2-6 in 8 fights. That's true, bro. That's true. But I think another part of it comes down to ticket sales and personality sales, right? At the end of the day, Michael Chandler, he's got a big name to him. He's an American. He speaks English, so his interviews are good. And he's he's a good person. Like, he seems nice. He's just good for media, right? That's the type of people you want to represent your brand, right? Good people and stuff like that. Yeah, Michelle Pereira, pretty bummed on that. Next news I want to talk about, Shavkat, Ramnath Shavkat. He recently showed some training videos of his knees. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. All right, we got this via Reddit, bro. It's not available anymore. Oh my freaking God. All right, let me find a different one. All right, we found another Reddit one. I love Reddit, bro. I just recently got banned from 2 Reddit subs, dude. It was like a 10-day ban just for talking smack, which is crazy because that's what Reddit is usually about, is talking smack. But I don't know, the moderators, I guess, are trying to change things up. That's 2 7-day bans. Freaking, I just unfollow those groups. Whenever I get like bans for talking smack, I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this group, dude. F that. That's just not the way I live my life, man. But anyway, so here we go. Here's some footage of Shavkat. This got released recently. 12 days ago is when it was posted here. I'm pretty sure it got posted the day of. But as you can see, my dog looks like he's having a hard time, dude. I don't know how much weight is on that thing, but I don't think it's much, dude. It's not looking good. This was all in regards to Ian freaking Gary oblique kicking the crap out of him. I think we got to remove the oblique kick. I understand it's a very effective tool. I came from Taekwondo, so we work the oblique kicks a lot, but it's just not, it's fighting, bro. It's not a war, bro. This isn't a street fight. You're not fighting for your life here. This is for entertainment. And at the end of the day, the oblique kick, it leads to long-term problems, right? It's like, you look at Shavkat, man. He was literally the GOAT. We thought Shavkat was going to wipe through the division, man. He handed Ian Gary a loss, which, it's tough to do. Ian Gary, love him or hate him, he's got skills, bro. He does. Who's Ian Gary fighting next, bro? He's got a fight coming up. Let me see real quick. Let me see. Oh, he's fighting Islam, of course, of course. Dude, isn't that crazy, dude? So technically, Shakov should be. Damn, did I pronounce it? I'm like messing his name. I'm butchering his name, dude. Am I even pronouncing that thing right? Shavkat. Shavkat. Ramov Shavkat, he should be fighting Islam, but because of his injury, obviously he can't. And so now Ian's moving up. I think if I was the UFC, I would punish Ian. No, you're not fighting freaking for the title. You fight after Shavkat fights. When Shavkat is healed and fights, you can fight. I'm a proponent of removing the oblique kicks. I know like John Jones, the GOAT, he's an oblique kicker and all that. He's also an eye poker. But I vote for removing it, dude. Oh, and here's the last thing I'm going to add, and then I'm going to get straight into the Oklahoma card. Covington defeats Arman Sarukian at RAF. I'm not big on RAF. It's whatever. Like, wrestling's cool and all, but it's like whatever to me. But it's still interesting to watch, dude, and it's cool because now you have a lot of UFC fighters getting into RAF. But yeah, Covington, he was on a losing streak in the UFC. I think his last 2 fights were losses. Then he had a win prior, then a loss prior to that win. So it's been a downward trajectory, but he proved in RAF who Covington is. He still is that guy that still has the wrestling. You know what? I just think it's just this, bro. The game has evolved, right? It's like you go through phases, and we were coming out of the Khabib. We were in the Khabib phase at the time, or coming out of the Khabib phase, should I say, right? So you're coming out of that dominant wrestling phase. You had Usman coming in. He had like one of the longest reigns with the belt, right? He's a heavy wrestler. But then you start seeing these guys come in and they're starting to improve on the wrestling, improve the wrestling defense. The strikers, they're learning, okay, this is what's holding me down. This is how they're holding me down. You know, this is the new technique that's out there. So they're starting to come up with better game plans to deal with it, how to get back up, how to stop the grappling from happening, you know? And actually one of these fights, I'm going to get into that because who was it? Which fight was it? Spacing. There's a fight in here. The DDP fight with Usman, actually, funny enough. DDP just showed how much his grappling defense has improved compared to when he fought Kazma. And so I think we're getting into the age of the strikers again right now. So you're seeing the strikers come up with better defensive wrestling, and they're able to implement their striking plan better, which is cool with me. That's what I like. Also, shout out, I got my punch therapy hat on. Bam! Shout out, oh, damn, I'm spacing on her name. Shout out Tiffany Timebomb. How did I space, bro? Where am I? You know what? I didn't make coffee, dude. Should I go make some coffee real quick? I'm still tired. Cody Covington defeats Arman Sarukian. Man, were the Muslim people upset about this one? My fucking Muslim followers online were talking that smack on Cody. Let's check this out. Let me see if I can get clips of this. Here we go. Let's check this clip out via Happy Punch. I love Happy Punch, man. They put such great content. Go follow them if you don't follow them, man. Oh, that was clean though. Covington recovered from that. Oh, pinned him down. I don't know much about wrestling, so I don't know what I'm watching, to be honest. I can tell you who I think is winning. I mean, Covington seems to be the one that keeps landing on top, so. This guy, dude. The RAF belt. Dude. Chill sunning it right there. So yeah, you know. Oh, you guys weren't even I didn't even cut to it. Damn, I forgot to cut to it. Well, I'll add it in post. All right. Let's get to the meat and potatoes, baby. Back to business. UFC Oklahoma, baby. This isn't, as always, this is not going to be, oh, let me turn off the AC, dude. This is probably loud as hell, dude. I got a window AC, dude. I live in a studio, so I just get a window AC. I don't have central. But UFC Oklahoma, obviously, this is not going to be a full card breakdown. I don't got that type of time. I speak way too much. Let's light it up for getting through that little intro. I'm sorry, gang. I really got to move out of time. I somehow always make these an hour long, even when I don't want to. Always hour long. All right, well, let's get started, bro. UFC Oklahoma, man, absolutely delivered. Pure drama from the top to the bottom, baby. We saw some undefeated records get shattered. I freaking, when someone comes in undefeated, I'm always like, damn, what's going to happen, man? I don't know. I don't know how these fighters feel about undefeated, right? Like in MMA, it's not as cool as like in boxing, you know? So I can only assume it's not like as bad, but it's still gotta suck, dude. We saw some veterans grit it out and push through to secure some dubs, dude. A father reclaiming his throne, by the way. Chase Hooper, he's a father now. It's crazy. Didn't even realize he had kids. I think he's younger than me, dude. And we witnessed a 5-round war between two former champions that completely cleared up the middleweight title picture, baby. And you know who I'm talking about, Usman versus DDP. If you guys haven't seen anything, you guys haven't watched the news, you stay away from the internet, then, you know, it's going to be surprising for you. Most of you probably already know who won. Spoiler, Usman lost, right? So we'll get into it. So let's not waste any time. Let's break it down. We'll break the card down in the order that it went down. Of course, skipping the cards that I'm not talking about. Yeah, let's see how this goes. So first fight I want to talk about is Levy Rodriguez Jr. versus Felipe Franco. This was a catchweight fight, by the way. Here we are. So we got Felipe Franco versus Levi Rodriguez. Oh man, where'd my window go? Where did my window go? There it is. Dude, like his fights end in like a minute, bro. He gets crazy knockouts, crazy TKOs. He's got a 5-0 record. I think out of his 5-0 record, I think he's got like 4 stoppages. And I think all 4 came within like the first minute. Dude, he's got hands, man. He's got good hands. He's got great boxing, very powerful. Undefeated record, right? You heard me talking about the undefeated record earlier, right, baby? Yeah, like I said, all his fights, they end in about a minute, dude. He's a powerhouse. Neither of these guys are currently ranked. They're in the top 15, I believe. Franco, bro, he just completely derailed the hype train. Honestly, I thought Levy was going to win. Was it Levy or Levoy? Levy, all right. So I thought Levy was going to win just because of his previous fights, dude. Dude just dominates. Cannot get past Franco. Franco was lightning fast. Dude, the speed difference was insane. Like, you could tell Levy was used to landing that one-hitter quitter, and he would try to throw that hard strike, whether it landed or whether it didn't land. Franco would come in with like a 4-piecer, bro. There was, I think, in the first round, a moment when Levy threw a shot and Franco kind of like slid off to the side, and he threw like 4 shots in a row. Ba, 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 ba. It was so fast, so quick. Dude, Rodriguez, he can throw though, bro. I mean, you know, he can throw. Whenever Rodriguez would land low kicks, bro, it would send Franco's flying, bro. Like literally, I don't know why he didn't go attack the legs more, because he seemed to have the more powerful legs, and he seemed to. I think it's because Franco's style was so boxing heavy. It was easy to land those low kicks. But you know, that's the thing. You know, with Levy, it's like he's good, bro. But the thing that's, you know, that's why he's in the top 15 and not top 10, is because he's not able to make these adjustments like on the go, you know? I'm sure if he looks at the tape, he's going to look at it and be like, damn, I kicked his leg out the way like hella times. I should have just kept going back to that. Round 2, Franco, like it clicked, like at the end of round 1 clicked in Franco's mind. I think he understood like I'm better at him on the grappling. So he's like, he just went for the easy path to victory, bro. Franco realized how much better he was, and he immediately shot for the takedown at the beginning of round 2. And he just started raining down some vicious elbows and punches, some ground and pounds. It was pretty bad, dude. Hats off to Levy. Levy seems like he's hard to knock out, because he was getting these shots clean to the point where his head was bouncing off the canvas, but he was still like aware and grabbing stuff and trying to move around. Technically, you could argue that he was still intelligent to defend himself, but also it's like he was taking a lot of damage. The ref ended up just waving the fight off, and he was upset. I can see why he's upset, because he's cognitive on what's going on. But, dude, you're taking unnecessary damage, bro. The fight's just not going your way. I think, in my opinion, it's kind of up in the air, right? I think it was a cool stoppage, but had they let it go on, I wouldn't have been upset, you know? But whatever, bro. They stopped it. End of the day, it is what it is. The winner was Felipe Franco via TKO in round 2, baby. It was a good fight. Winner Felipe Franco, baby. Let's go, Felipe Franco. Yeah, I think Franco, you're gonna see him climb that top 15 very quickly, just because of how he made that adjustment. Not only like was he making the good adjustments with the striking and the boxing. That's the thing, bro. It's like, look, dude, you have to find the easiest key to victory. Like if you're trying to get into that top 10, you have to exploit your opponent's weaknesses, whether it's your strength or not. You got to use that to your advantage. And Franco has the ability to do that. So I can see him moving up in the rankings for sure, for sure. The next fight I want to talk about, baby, let's go. See, I got that coffee going. I smoked a little weed. I'm chilling, dog. We ready. Next fight we're gonna talk about. Let's see where we at. Boom, switch it over. There we are. Jean Paul Lobinson Libo Sninyani versus Sihok Yon Ko. These are freaking, both of them have hard names to pronounce. This guy, Jean with his last name, Ko with his first name, man. Freaking I'm gonna just call him Lobo, and I'm gonna call him Ko because that's easy to pronounce. But yeah, they got they got some similar stats: 5'11", 5'10", ages isn't too far apart. 10-2 for Gene, 13-2 for Ko. This fight, I really didn't know any of these fighters at all. I'm gonna be honest with you. The only reason I tuned in was because my guy right here was Korean, and so it's like, I'm Asian, so I gotta I F with my Asians. Want to see how this went. I was curious because I thought Ko would come in with the heavy like Taekwondo style. He was very like bladed, like he's sideways in his stance, but apparently from what the announcers were saying, he's more of like a grappler. I think he did a lot of judo. But yeah, this was a cool fight, bro. Honestly, this was a great back and forth. I mean, I'll try to keep it short, but this was a very competitive, unranked welterweight scrap, bro. Honestly, that's the best way I could describe this. Was a scrap, and you know how we like that. Yeah, I'll be honest, bro. But yeah, I didn't know much. Either the fighter going in wasn't even like planning to speak on this fight. To be honest, like I just wanted to see this Korean guy and see how he did. After I saw that first round, I was like, oh damn, I better write about this dude. It was just, bro, like from the start to the end, it was just action. Whether it was most of it was on striking, but even when it went to the ground, there wasn't a lot of moments where they were just like hugging each other. So I like that both fighters won the dub, and they both showed that they were willing to do what it took to win. Both these guys were actually. I did kind of do some research after the fact, but yeah, both these guys, apparently they're very experienced grapplers. So you would think that they'd go in there with their wrestling and judo and whatnot, but this basically turned into a striking fight, which is the classic MMA role. When you have two guys who are great at the same thing, they end up doing the exact opposite, which is exactly what I said earlier about what, like, the levels to the game, right? If you want to pass that top 15 rankings, you got to like use your opponent's weakness against your opponent, whether or not it's your strength, right? Jean Paul, man, he barely pulled away. This was a very, very close fight. I mean, he was able to utilize constant forward pressure. He stayed right in front of Ko. And the one thing I'm going to say about Ko was he has his hands down way too much, dude. And I don't know if it's because he's not like a natural striker, but dude, his hands are like Taekwondo style. This is how Asians fight, bro. We just like, unless you're like from Thailand or something, from Southeast Asia, we fight like, I guess not we, because I'm not East Asian, but I'm from Southeast Asia. But yeah, dude, if Ko puts his hand were to fight it with his hands up higher, he would do tremendously better, bro, because he looked good. And the thing is, like, he's good at slipping and he uses good footwork to stay safe. But once you start getting tired, that kind of goes away. And I have a lot of experience with that because I like to fight with my hands down too. But as you get tired, like I said, I'd start getting tired, and then like literally it starts becoming harder to slip, and my feet don't want to move as much to stay out of range. It's just part of the game. But yeah, I think if you were to fight with his hands up higher, it would do wonders for his style. Round one was an absolute. I don't know who won that first round, dude. I think that first round I'm gonna have to give it to a draw. Both guys landed a lot. Ko had a great jab and was sticking his jab in front of Gene a lot. Was it Jean Paul? I don't even know these guys that much. Yeah, Jean Paul. He had a great jab that was sticking in Jean Paul's face every time Jean Paul would try to come forward. But Jean Paul had the stronger strikes, and he would land more of the combinations, dude. And and one thing I did notice about Jean Paul though is he was able to switch his stances a lot, and I like that. I like that I'm seeing that more in MMA. We got to see that more. But yeah, after round one, Ko started to slow down, bro. Like I said, his defense started evaporating, and that's when Libo started taking over. I wouldn't say it was like he was running away with the round, but I think round two is when Libo started I'm gonna call it Jean Paul Libo. That's how I wrote it in my notes. But yeah, I give round two to for sure Libo. Round three was a tough round to score. I think Libo edged it off just barely. There's a few times where he got some good guillotine attempts. It's actually interesting because Ko, he seemed like he was good at, he could take Jean Paul down. He would like put him in some type of like hip toss, but the second he would like toss him, Jean Paul would go for like a guillotine or some type of modified guillotine or headlock, And I think that was keeping Jean Paul from continuing like trying to take him down. But anyways, I didn't want to talk too much about it. So the winner was Jean Paul. It was a great fight. Go check it out. Jean Paul secured the dub. Just constant pressure. A lot of combinations, threw a few good kicks, not too many, but the kicks that did landed hard, and his just great grappling, dude. So let's go on to this next fight. Tommy McMillan versus Alberto Mons. Man, this was one of my favorite fights of this card, bro. Let me pull this up. Here we are. There we are. All right. Yeah, dude. Tommy McMillan, he's coming in with an undefeated record, a 10-0 record versus Alberto Mons with the 12-1 record. This is a featherweight fight. Man, I personally love watching Alberto Mons fight. I never seen Tommy fight. I think this was his second fight in the UFC. He came in from Dana White's Contender Series. Tommy McMillan, all I know is he trains with Sean O'Malley out of that camp, which I think is beautiful camp for his style. It's just very complimentary to the way he fights, and even the size, right? Tommy's a tall dude for the division. O'Malley's a tall dude for the division. It's a great matchup, dude. Honestly, Alberto Mons, man, I love watching this guy fight, dude. He fights very clean, very technical. Kind of reminds me of an Ilya type dude. He trains. He comes out of Goat Shed, I believe, so he's training with Mr. Awesome. Is it President? I think he goes by President Awesome. I think, but President Awesome. He is one of the. He's not the owner of Karate Combat, I don't think, but he's like he's like on the board for Karate Combat. So it's a good gym. Go check him out. Tommy McMillan, though, man, what a freaking fighter, man. Dude, honestly, I personally thought this was going to be a test for Tommy McMillan, but this was a test for freaking Alberto Mons, man. Even though McMillan was barely on his second fight in the UFC, he freaking looked like he should have been in the UFC for a long time ago. He fights just like Sean O'Malley, dude. It's crazy. Honestly, he fights like O'Malley, but he's more active than O'Malley, I would say, at least in this fight. Both fighters, they're working their way to get to the top 15 rankings. The bad blood was real, though, baby. Tommy and Alberto, they were like talking a lot of smack online, man. I don't know who started it. I'm gonna say it was Tommy. Tommy looks like he likes to talk smack, and I don't like when people do that. I really don't, but he's able to back it up, dude. And who knows? I think O'Malley's probably getting in his ear, telling him like, "This is how you sell fights and stuff." Dude, Tommy was like being kind of disrespectful to Alberto. They made a gentleman's agreement on Instagram. They said that they would not go to the ground, and they definitely held up that agreement, man. They really did. Dude, Tommy, literally, Tommy was just in Alberto's face like the entire fight. Literally even before the fight began, Tommy walks into the ring and he's just like staring down Alberto and walks up to him, and he's literally like face to face, and security has to come. They have to separate him. Tommy wanted to hurt Alberto, that's for sure. And he had a lot of confidence coming into it, Round one was all Tommy, dude. He was hyper aggressive, showing off great striking, utilizing his reach beautifully, bro. Punches and bunches. I like the style so this is what I like about O'Malley, and what I noticed about Tommy is they throw combinations, but they're not like combinations. It's more of like they just throw a bunch of singles together quickly. So it's like jab, 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 cross, jab, cross, jab, jab, cross, kick. It's not like, it's like the beat is not like bum, 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 bum. It's like boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? I like that. It's easier to keep the pressure on when you do it that way, rather than when you explode so much. When you throw a lot of combinations, your last combination is going to usually shoot you off balance, or you're going to have to off step weird to land it. And that's when your opponent will find that opening. But if you're just throwing a lot of singles very, very quickly, it makes it harder for your opponent to try to counter, because it's like you're throwing one and you're coming back to your stance, and then throwing another one, you're coming back to your stance, right? So defensively, it works better, and you're able to move around and pivot a lot better. Heavy body shots, dude. Heavy body shots early on by Tommy to Alberto, dude. You can tell his game plan was try to wither Alberto early on, hit the body a lot, put pressure on him, get him to try to get him to fade off of getting hit. It was the plan, bro. His long range was like nightmares for Alberto, though, dude. Alberto was having a hard time finding an entry. When Alberto did land, though, he landed hard. Like once he found his way in, he would land hard, and he would kind of like you could tell. I wouldn't say he was a stronger puncher. He might have been the stronger puncher, because it might have hurt Tommy more, but Tommy didn't show it, dude. That's the thing with Tommy, is he would get hit and he would stay in the pocket and keep on with his aggression, keep on with his offense. That's cool, man. That's like that's something that native strikers are good at doing. If you've come up your career like striking a lot, it's like you learn to stay to take to give, right? That's something you have to train a lot, and that's something that I see a lot of UFC fighters that come in with the heavy grappling style, it takes a while for them to get used to, or they just don't get used to it. But you'll see, like, once they start taking a lot of shots, they'll just shoot or they'll back up. But when you have a guy that's used to striking a lot, it's like they trust in their defense. They understand that, like, even if their defense fails them, if they get tagged, it's like, if I get hit, that means you've now closed the distance, and I should be able to hit you back, right? In this case, like, Tommy was a lot bigger than Alberto, but if Alberto gets hit, it's like the gap is closing now. You just have to take one step now to reach him, right? I mean, Alberto did time a savage counter that dropped Tommy hard, like, at some point in the round, but McMillan, like, Tommy just popped right back up like nothing, dude. Tough kid, man, tough kid. Round 2, Tommy brought relentless, nonstop pressure, dude. Staying in Alberto's face, you could see the confidence was just rising in Tommy, and just swinging without resetting, bro. Just constantly hitting. I mean, it got to the point where he just was fighting with his hands down because he was just nonstop attacking, dude. It wasn't even moving his head off the center line, just constant. I think it was the range, bro. It was the range for Alberto. He was having a hard time reaching him. And it's weird. He's landing some good low kicks. I don't know why he kept going. He didn't keep going to that because he would land. Dude, actually in round 2, he did land this beautiful combo early on. Alberto landed like it was an inside kick with the right. So he's orthodox, lands inside with his left foot, pulls left foot all the way back, and threw a knee up the middle and landed on Tommy's freaking face. That was beautiful. That was textbook. It did kind of slow down Tommy a bit off that head to the knee. I mean, it slowed him down a little bit, but our Alberto, like, he kept having this thing where he kept waiting, dude, and it looked like he was waiting for breaks in Tommy's combinations in order for him to go. Partly because I think of the range, he was trying to catch him at the end of the punches to come in, but the problem was Tommy was not stopping. He just kept going. Like, Alberto kind of was looking like a punching bag, dude. I'm not gonna lie, this looked really bad. He looked very amateurish this fight, man. Tommy was talking that smack, bro, all through the second round, bro, all the way till the buzzer. Round 3, I think at round 3, Tommy, like, flips off Alberto at one point. But yeah, dude, Tommy drops Alberto with, like, a brutal body shot in round 3, and you could see it in Alberto's face, bro. Alberto goes down, and Tommy kind of, like, goes up to him and decides not to engage on the ground. And you can see that the camera cuts to like a side angle on Alberto's face, and he just looks like defeated, bro. He just has this look on his eyes, like, he just like, dude, it's when you see that, it's seldom does that mean that fighter's going to win. That usually means his confidence has been broken, and he just, like, the rest of the third round, he just was, like I said, just a punching bag again, just trying to survive, kept moving backwards. I mean, this was a landslide for Tommy. I think this, like, literally total landslide that was tough, man. That was tough. I don't know where Tommy McMillan goes after this. That was such a great fight. Alberto's a tough guy, dude. I mean, do we just go straight to the top 10 rankings or something? Let me see what the rankings got right now. All right, featherweight, baby. Oh, this is Alex's fucking rank. So we got Alex Volk. He's the champ once again. Is this a featherweight fight? I think it was a featherweight fight. Who do we give him? Top. We can go 15. Delgado. Let's test him with the 15. Aaron Pico would be a great one. It's gonna be a tough one for Aaron Pico. I don't want to do that to Pico. I like him, man. I like him. Let's give him some time to kind of, give him some time to make his way. You know what I'm saying? Costa would be a good one. I say let's test him with one of these two. Let's just go straight to 15. Let's see what happens, right? Oh, wait. Oh, I keep forgetting to switch the cam over. My bad. Freaking high. Yeah, Jose Miguel Delgado. I'd be interested in watching that. Aaron Pico would probably makes a lot of sense, I think, but I say we wait on that. Let's give him this guy right here or one of these guys. That's my opinion. Was this a featherweight fight, right? Doesn't even tell you the weight class. Come on, give me some. I wrote featherweight. Yeah, it's a featherweight. Yeah, I'm down to see that. I'm down to see that. Let's let him go. Let's see what he does with top 15, baby. Yeah. All right, here we go. This is a fight I was excited. So next fight we're going to talk about is Chase Hooper versus Mitch Ramirez. I like Chase Hooper. He's a cool guy. I think he's Canadian. He just seems nice, dude. Is he Canadian? I don't want to speak on some stuff that's not true. Oh my God, where are my manners? I was wrong. Born in Emclave, Washington. I thought he was Canadian. Is there Canadian in his blood or something? Dude, I thought he was Canadian. Washington's got people that act like they're Canadian. Maybe it's because he's nice and he just has like that pasty white look, dude. I don't know. I thought he was Canadian, but anyways, I've seen this fool grow up, bro. He's like, he's been in the UFC for some time. And just witnessing him from, when he debuted, he was young, bro. He was like in his late teens, I think. And then now just seeing him become a young man, it's cool. He's got like 2 kids now, which I didn't know about. So yeah, I like watching him, bro. It's cool. He's a cool guy. So tapped in for this fight. Chase Hooper, he's coming in with the record of 16-5-1 versus Mitch Rodriguez. Mitch Rodriguez is coming in with the 8-3. There we go. Chase Hooper versus Mitch Ramirez. This Chase Hooper 16-5-1 record. Mitch Ramirez 8-3-0. This is I was interested to see what would happen. If I'm not mistaken, Chase Hooper got knocked out his last 2 fights. Let me fact check that. I think he did. Or was it just his last fight? No, he's only got 1 L. So, oh wait. Not his 2. So, ESPN, all loud. Yeah, his last 2 fights, he took L's, got knocked out by Gibson Jr., got knocked out by Aaron Hernandez. Damn, this fight was a crazy fight. You guys got to go back and watch. That was a crazy fight. So he took 2 L's going into this fight. It was an important fight for him, he, especially for that mental, just to see where you're at. Nobody wants to lose a 3rd time. It doesn't mean you're always going to get cut, but it's not a good sign when you lose your 3rd fight in a row, right? So, Chase Hooper, he came in and, man, he answered this facing a ton of adversity. Like I said, he came in heavy, missing the lightweight limit at 157.5, making this a catchweight bout, dude. That was crazy. I don't think that's ever even happened in Chase's career, but he is like getting older and he's lengthy, so maybe he might have to think about moving up a rank soon, maybe in a year or 2, Neither guy's ranked in the top 15 yet, as of yet. Chase is trying to get into that ranking. And like I said, he's trying to snap that 2-fight losing streak. It's just crazy seeing him now as a dad, bro. It's like, dude, it's just wild every time I think about that. Cause I just remember when he was a little baby, bro. But yeah, knowing what was at stake, bro, Chase was a lot more cautious going into this fight. I think his last fight, especially that KO to Hernandez. Hernandez happened because he was too in the pocket. He was too in Hernandez's face, right? I think he thought he could use his range and his length to hit his opponent before his opponent could hit him, Hernandez. And I think he just was overconfident in his jiu-jitsu. He was like, I'm going to stand and bang. I got that range to stay on the outside. If things don't go my way, I could always grapple and win there. But then no, he ends up getting knocked out, dude. Hernandez was clean with it, bro. Clean with it. But yeah, he was just a lot more cautious going into this fight against Mitch. He's tall, man, and he's got a long frame. And he just was taking, he knows how to use it, bro. At least this fight, he showed he knew how to use it. He was taking his time, staying on the outside. That's how a tall fighter should fight, right? No, literally within like a few seconds of the fight, Hooper decided to shoot. He shot, turned it into like a grappling exchange. It looked like a clinic, bro. He basically immediately took Ramirez's back. Like almost immediately, he went, he shot, and just got to his back. Dude, his massive reach is such an advantage on the ground, dude. His legs are like, they just locked all the way in, no problem. And once he locks his legs in, his hips are like almost as wide as like your whole frame, dude, as at least Mitch's whole frame. So he's just locked in there. Like he's literally just bear hugging him. I think the whole fight lasted like less than 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. I'm sorry. Wow. I wrote it down, but maybe because I wrote it down, I remembered. But he basically like literally took him from when he took him down to when he took his back to when he secured, I think it was a rear naked. It lasted like the whole exchange was like within like 30 to 40 seconds, maybe. I don't know. It was a flawless first round, bro. He got Ramirez to tap. Chase gets the dub in 2 minutes and 15 seconds flat via rear naked choke, dude. What a fight, man. Honestly, what a way to come back into the winner's circle. Chase was extremely happy, dude. Gave a good speech. Honestly, he took 0 damage in that fight. Like Chase didn't get hit like at all. I think if he wanted to, he could just fight again, So we'll see what happens with the next card. Honestly, if I was Chase, I would try to get back into the octagon as soon as possible. You've secured that dub. Let's keep it going, baby. You know what I'm saying? You're still a young guy. You got a lot of time. Let's fill that out. Winner Chase Hooper via rear naked choke round 1, dog. That was a good fight. Go check that out. Now we're moving on to the co-main event, baby. Jared Cannonier versus Christian Leroy Duncan. All right, I got to smoke for this. I like Jared Cannonier. I freaking been watching this guy fight for forever. I used to play him on the UFC game. He's cool. So I was excited for this fight. Leroy, no slop though, dude. Dude has power. Explosive, bro. This British guy is explosive. He hits you with a lot of stuff. Very light on his feet. I like, honestly, Leroy is shaping up to be one of my favorite fighters too. I just like guys that are explosive and they throw a lot of like unpredictable strikes. I like that type of style. You know, this was I think going into this fight, I still would have had, I still want Cannonier to win over Duncan just because I like him overall. But Duncan's growing on me. He seems like he's a cool fighter. I like him. I F with him. Yeah, Jared Cannonier, man. I love to watch this guy fight. Duncan also. This is a middleweight bout. Jared Cannonier, he's coming in. He's got a 18-9 record. Duncan's got a 14-2. I believe Cannonier is ranked number 10, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this was a massive foundational fight for the middleweight division, bro. Jared Cannonier came into the night as a battle-tested top 10 mainstay. But the younger generation was coming for his spot, baby. Christian Leroy Duncan, the freaking British. I think he's British, right? I believe he's British. The freaking British lad. Oh, what happened? Oh. Sorry. Something going on in my viewer. Why is it doing that? All right, we're good. Leroy Duncan opened up looking wild and explosive. This is why I like watching this guy fight. He opened up with a spinning back fist just right out the gate, throwing a ton of... Dude, I don't like the oblique kicks. Christian Leroy Duncan, don't do the oblique kicks. I like you. I want to continue to like you. Please don't do the oblique kicks, man. You're too good for that. That's a dirty move. You're too good for that. I believe in you. But yeah, he threw a lot of oblique kicks, man. He did. I didn't like that. And honestly, I think it like right at the start of the round, I think the oblique kicks were doing a number on Cannonier because he couldn't come in anymore because every time he'd come in, he'd get his knee stepped on viciously. CLD, that's Leroy Duncan, Christian Leroy Duncan's, by the way. I'm just going to refer to him as CLD. I think in my notes too, I put Cannonier as JC. I can't remember, but CLD looked way bigger than Cannonier, by the way. Like, honestly looked like they were a weight class apart, which is very interesting because I always thought Cannonier was big for that division, so I was like maybe not super tall. I think he's like 5'10", but he's always been like pretty jacked, you know. So I never saw him as like a small guy. But compared to CLD, he looked like a small guy. CLD, man, he was landing some good knees too, dude. He landed a jumping knee right when Cannonier, like at one point, Cannonier tried to go for a single leg. And CLD landed like a jumping knee with one leg in Cannonier's arm. It was pretty sick, bro. It was some kung fu karate stuff. I think CLD took some like traditional martial arts because he fights kind of bladed and stuff. And a lot of the like kicks that he's throwing, he's doing like or he's doing like side kicks and oblique kicks. It looks very like traditional martial arty. But yeah, CLD, dude, he's explosive. That knee that he got off was explosive. Hopefully, I remember to add it here because that was a good clip. Cannonier, though, he's a seasoned veteran. Cannonier kept tying him up against the cage on the clinch, landing knees to try to slow him down. That was honestly not Cannonier's most exciting fight, you know? Dude, that's the only way he was going to win because Duncan look, at the end of the day, Cannonier is 42 years old. That's just the reality, right? He's 42 years old. Duncan's younger than him. Duncan was bigger than him. And Duncan seemed faster than him, right? So he's got three of the things you don't want. Like, you don't want one of those three to happen. He's got all three. And the fact that and when I say him being younger, the benefit of being younger is your conditioning. Your cardio is just so much better when you're younger. I'm not saying when you get older, you can't have good cardio. It just, you got to work for it more, man. That's the first thing that you start seeing is guys start getting tired faster once they get older, you know? It was a smart move, you know? He noticed, like, damn, this guy's fast. Guy has a lot of crazy attacks. This guy's bigger than me, and so he recognized, like, let me hold him down. Let me try to wear him down. You get his muscles tired, get him breathing a little bit more, and then once he slows down, then I'll try to mount an offense. CLD, dude, you just picked Cannonier apart, bro. He literally would pick him up in the clinch and just slammed him. Cannonier gets up and just, CLD just starts landing beautiful Muay Thai, just knees and elbows. He literally puts Cannonier in the clinch, and he's just like, bam, knee, elbows. Oh, it was beautiful, bro. And that's one thing that I saw a lot of CLD do, though. I saw him a few times in the fight, not a lot, but at least like one time per round. he would reverse the clenching position and he would land some vicious knees, like Muay Thai type knees, you know? I like that stuff. Round 2, though, Cannonier was sweating bullets, bro. He looked completely gassed out in round 2, dude. Like, honestly, it was crazy. COD stayed explosive, throwing everything with dynamic power, bro. Cannonier, he was just kept trying to just force the clench, bro. But he couldn't complete any takedown, bro. He would force the clench, put COD against the fence, but anytime he would try to actually go for a single or a double, COD would be able to just kind of shake him off. I think that came down to a size advantage, though. COD was just so much bigger. It's like a little kid trying to take you down. You can just push him away, you know, pull your leg out. Every time COD would open up, though, anytime he would start striking, it would hurt Jared Cannonier, bro. Like, you would see Cannonier just visibly show signs that he's getting hurt, right? But whether he would stop, he would do the stanky leg, or his body would be out of position. Like, he'd get hit hard and his body would get out of position. It was like, I don't even know what was going on. I didn't recognize what I was seeing because I've never seen Cannonier in that way, bro. But dude, Cannonier showed he had a legendary chin, bro. He ate so much shots and he just stayed in front of him, stayed upright, bro. Stayed up. Honestly, towards the end, CLD did slow down, like at the end of round 2, but he was still landing more strikes, honestly. I mean, that would have been Cannonier's best time to start mounting an attack was towards the end of round 2 when CLD would slow down. But Cannonier was still getting pieced up in work, so don't get me wrong, it didn't matter. I think Cannonier, he went for a takedown. I think he noticed CLD was tired. He goes for a takedown, and CLD, he just managed to reverse position. And honestly, I think he just reversed it with pure strength, like I said earlier. So to me, it was just a bad round, bro. It was a bad round. Oh, and there was also like an illegal kick in round 2. Duncan CLD, he went to like kick Cannonier as Cannonier was getting up or something, and Cannonier was still on the ground. He ended up kicking him in the head. I think it kind of missed I don't remember if it hit him on the head or just barely missed the head, but it happened in front of the ref. The ref didn't say anything. I don't think he noticed it, bro. In the final minute of the last round, CLD put Cannonier against the cage and unloaded a barrage of knees. He literally had him against the fence, put him in the tie clench, and just boom, beautiful clenching, beautiful knees, beautiful elbows. And I think there was a spinning back fist at the end of it too. I think CLD threw like 2 spinning back fists at the end or something. Yeah, CLD, he ends up winning. It's just massive win for CLD. Sad to see Cannonier go out that way, bro. That was sad to see him go out that way. I don't know. When he was getting interviewed for this fight, he said he still had a lot of fight left in him. You know, he's still down to continue the journey. He's 42, but he says he's never felt better. This fight did not make him look better. But I don't know. I don't know if Cannonier was like, let's say 35 and still retained the technique he had at 42. I don't know if he would have won against CLD, bro. Leroy was just so much bigger than him, dude, and he just was so explosive. That was the problem, was the strength and the tenacity. Yeah. So winner was Christian Leroy Duncan via decision, and what a fight that was. I think that puts Christian Leroy in the rankings because I'm pretty sure Cannonier's ranked 10, I think. Let me check on that. Yeah, he's ranked or was ranked number 10 in the middleweight division. I don't know. I think that bumps him down, though. I don't know how the rankings work. I'm going to be honest. I think that bumps him down. That Duncan's got to for sure be in the rankings now. I think he's got to be maybe like at least top 15, right? Does he have a ranking yet? No. Number 12, baby. Was he always number 12 though? He might take that number 10 spot, dude. I should have looked into that before. Anyways, great fight. Go check that fight out. The old get eaten by the young, man. That's just how life is, whether in fighting, work, relationships. I don't know, man. All right, let's move on to the main event card. Kamaru Usman versus Dricus du Plessis. Kamaru Usman's coming in with a 21-4. Dricus du Plessis has a 23-3 record. This is a middleweight fight. I did not know that their fight stats were that similar in terms of experience. Their fight experience, I'm sorry. That was interesting to see. For some reason, I thought Usman would have had like way more fights. But also, Usman's he had like a lot of his fights were championship fights. Yeah, I was excited for this fight, man. I'm a fan of Usman. I don't like his, I'm not the craziest fan on his style, that wrestling, put him against the cage style. It was kind of boring in my opinion. But, dude, that guy had a crazy reign in the octagon, dude. I think he's had the 3rd longest reign in middleweight history. And aside from that, dude, he's like a cool guy. chill. He seems like he's nice. I like that. We gotta let the good people win, man. We do. Kamaru Usman versus Drakus Duplessis. Man, was I excited for this fight. When I heard this fight was announced weeks ago, I looked at the card and I really didn't care much for it. They're not saying that there wasn't good fighters on the card, but I just was like, damn, I really want to see that Kamaru Usman fight with Drakus Duplessis. This is an important fight, right? Both guys are former champions, right? Drakus, his last fight was to Kazmat. He lost the belt to Kazmat, was dominated, didn't get really messed up. I mean, Kazmat kind of just laid on top of him, and I think part of that was just because I don't think, some of Kazmat's fights are boring, but I just think Drakus was just so strong that it's like Kazmat didn't want to risk losing the position, so he kind of was forced to just lay on him or, risk not winning the fight, maybe, possibly. Kamaru Usman, who was his last fight? He fought someone and he won. Let's check this out. Okay. He fought against Joaquin Buckley. He got a dub. Not looking good after that. Edwards lost. Chaimiev lost. So that's the current champion. And then obviously you see who won. Won against Buckley. This was an interesting equation though. Kazmat Chaimiev, because both fighters had fought Kazmat Chaimiev, except in my opinion, Usman did a lot better against Kazmat, and had the fight gone past 3 rounds, I think Usman would have won that fight, like without a doubt. Like he was having trouble with Kazmat at first, but then he started like getting his boxing off, and then Kazmat started getting tired towards like round 2, and that's really when Usman started just pressing him against the cage, taking him down. That's when you started seeing Usman shine, and he was landing good boxing too on Kazmat. And that's the thing, dude. Usman's cardio he's always had good cardio. So that was something I took note of going into this fight, was Usman has really good cardio for that division, and Drakus Duplessis is not known for his cardio. That dude gasses out. He's still able to continue fighting and secure victories, even though he's tired. But the output he has from the first round to like, let's say round 3 plus is like night and day, dude. He goes from like throwing combinations and moving to standing in one spot and throwing singles, a lot of jab type stuff. So I was like wondering how that would come into play, and also knowing that Usman is just such a great wrestler, which you already know. Wears you down, you got a wrestler taking you down a lot. You start getting tired. This was a sad night for freaking Usman, man. So let's get into it, bro. Main event, baby. A highly anticipated 185 pounds bout. This was an elite, high stakes, top 10 battle with the number 2 ranked Drakus Duplessis taking on the number 9 ranked middleweight powerhouse Kamaru Usman. Usman, he's getting older, man. I keep saying that. He's getting older and famously fights on bad knees. Everyone knows he's got bad knees. He said he fixed them. I do not believe him. He's still the man, though. Dude, you got to look at his reign, man. He had a crazy reign. He held the record for the 3rd longest title reign in welterweight history, bro. I mean, like I said, it's just a fact. That's a prize right there, man. Just to get that's a prize, bro. On the other side, you got DDP. Obviously, like I said, he lost to Chaimiev. I don't think he won a single round against Chaimiev. Thinking back on that fight, no, I don't think he did. I gotta look at the score, but I don't think he won not even 1 round. Round 1. This started with Usman using his signature hand on the ground monkey style stance. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Well, he does this thing where he puts like one hand on the ground, he gets on his knees, and he's like looking at his opponent, and then he'll like kind of like monkey walk towards his opponent. I don't know why he does that, dude. I don't know. The Nigerian Prince, bro. Is that his name? Nigerian Prince or something? Nigerian Nightmare. Both guys fought hard for the center early on. DDP was throwing heavier, and honestly, like my hat's off to Usman, because he's developed his striking quite a bit since when he first started. Like he's down to stay in the pocket, he's down to throw stuff, he's down to eat a strike just to give a strike. When this fight started, DDP would land some strong punches on Usman, but he would like plant his feet down and try to throw back. Like honestly, Usman could have prevented a lot of the damage he took on had he just off-stepped or took a step back and stayed outside the pocket. But he wanted the center of the octagon so bad. He wanted to control the pace that he was just willing to take damage just to do what he wanted to do, right? Not the best strategy, but that's honestly how you got to do it, But yeah, DDP established himself as the better striker early on. DDP landed a monstrous right hand that got a massive reaction out of Usman. I believe it was a right overhand. Usman looked... Dude, like he just was not prepared for that awkward style. It's so hard to train for that, Even DDP's jabs were visibly hurting Usman. Like even his jabs were like stopping Usman and sending his head back. Like I said, DDP's strong and he's fast, bro. He's big. Usman really struggled to get inside, bro, and he like was doing a lot of body shots to DDP, but in my opinion, I think that was not the right move because it you got to try something until it stops working, right? And early on, when you'd see Usman bend over and he'd throw like a jab to DDP, DDP would eat it and then like throw like an overhand or like a cross right over the top as Usman was trying to get back into position. It happened almost every single time. I think partially too is because DDP would switch stances. So sometimes he would switch stance, and I noticed Usman was not noticing when DDP would switch stances. When your opponent switches stances, you should probably change your game plan for that moment, right? Like if you're like, oh, if you practice punching to the body a lot and you see him switch stances, maybe don't keep going to the body because now everything's lined up different now, right? So, but yeah, like I said, Usman would go try to work the body and he would just get hit over the top with that. But yeah, round one, that was just an easy round for DDP. Round one, he just worked Kamaru. Just his kicks were just sending him flying in different directions. It was crazy round for DDP. Round two, DDP's kicks. That's funny that I brought that up. His kicks were devastating, bro. Every time he kicked Usman, you would see Usman wilt, bro. You would hear like a loud bang, and you would see him kind of like bend over. Or if he didn't bend over, he would just go flying from the amount of force that was coming at him. Oh, dude, and DDP got him. He exploded with a savage knee on the outside that caught Usman flush on the chin. I think Usman like faked like he was gonna grab DDP's leg, and DDP just timed it. Threw a knee right down the middle. Wobbling Usman, bro. Wobbled him. he basically, dude, honestly, DDP rocked Usman multiple times in that fight, dude. It was just a crazy, in that second round, it was just a crazy sequence of combinations that DDP was putting on Usman. I was surprised, dude. Usman's chin, like, held up, bro. It literally kept him alive. Like, Usman was just standing on pure, like, just freaking dog, bro. Like honestly, he was getting hurt so bad. His face was already by round two already like swelling up, dude. And just the output that DDP was putting out there, dude, massive output. Where am I at? I think at some point in round two. At some point in round two, DDP, he throws like, I can't remember if it was an overhand or a cross, and the thumb actually slides into Usman's eye. It landed so flush, but Usman started complaining, saying it was an eye poke. It was not an eye poke. They checked the cams. It was the thumb that went in. It happens, it happens. It's unfortunate, but it's not an eye poke, so you can't stop. But DDP smelled blood, bro, and he completely just bulldozed through Usman after that happened. Just unleashing non-stop combinations, man. Usman took life-altering damage that second round, bro. But he refused to go down, bro. He honestly was like, I'm not going down. I was so impressed with just his chin, bro. Round three, bro, Usman's left eye was practically swollen shut. It really was. His corner told him to work the jab and stop backing up, which was, I think, terrible advice. I would just angle around, bro. Like, moving into, like, trying to go forward was not working for him, right? And backing up I wouldn't back up either, dude. I would try to off step. That's honestly the best thing you can do is like just jab and keep off stepping. I would just keep off stepping to the side and try to make DDP like chase you down, bro. Like you're not gonna win these exchanges. You're not stronger than him. He's faster than you. So you gotta, like, in my opinion, I would try to use my footwork to just move around, and then like find the right moment to then come in. Another thing I would have told Usman is to feint and just angle off more. Don't stay in the pocket. That's what my advice would be. But yeah, round three was just all DDP. I mean, he slowed down a lot in round three, and you could see Usman try to capitalize. But even though DDP slowed down, he kept going back to that stance switching, and he would just throw singles or a 1-2, and it was like messing with Usman. It's like, it was so basic to him. Like, damn, he's just switching stance. Like, he slowed down quite a lot. This is the time where you can put it on him. But he just, like, I think by that round, by this time too, Usman was just too broken and beaten up, bro. He was just kind of like trying to survive. Usman did manage to secure a double leg takedown in round three, but DDP just bounced back up, dude. Literally within a second, he just jumped back up. Round four, DDP was still controlling the fight. He was visibly tired, he was sweating a lot. He slowed down, single strikes. But he still was backing up Usman, bro. I mean, anytime Usman would enter the pocket, DDP would just land some strikes and like literally would move Usman with either a kick or like a hard punch, Usman had more confidence going into that fourth round. He did land some cleaner strikes in that fourth round because DDP was tired. Like literally DDP, like he threw a question mark kick, right? It's like he sensed that the momentum was shifting towards Usman for a second, and he threw just a beautiful question mark kick that caught Usman clean, bro. DDP might have thrown another left kick that landed, and then DDP threw like a step through cross that spun Usman's head to the side, dude. It was. I don't want to say it was an easy fight for DDP. No, it was an easy fight for DDP. It honestly was. I mean, like, dude, look, they had 4 rounds, and all 4 rounds, DDP forced Usman to strike with them. And, DDP is the striker. So, obviously, how do you think it's going to go? Round 5, dude, it showed, dude. The damage that Usman took, it showed, bro. Usman kept dipping his head, like, every time you'd see that, like, they'd start to get into the pocket and swing. Like, you could see Usman kind of, like, getting prepared to get hit, That left head kick from the back, it would land a lot, bro. And it landed again in round 5. But Usman got like a second win, bro. Usman found a second win just out of nowhere. He started just chasing DDP down. He was throwing mean combinations. Usman was tired, bro. DDP was tired, man. But yeah, Usman throws like a right hand that visibly rocked DDP, and just Usman just started emptying the tank after that, chasing the knockout. But the bell rang at the end, and what a performance, bro. Honestly, I was impressed that Usman ate all those shots. I don't know if they give awards for chins or staying in the fight, but he should have got it, It was sad, though, at the end of the fight. Usman, he looked like he was about to cry, he knows it hurts, right? The score was crazy. It was 50-45, 49-46, 49-46. Usman was upset with the judge that scored it 50-45, and he said something, and I was like, nah, dog. Honestly, it was a 50-45, dude. I would have even argued it was 50-45 across the board, dude. It was literally like, it was that bad, dude. I wasn't used to seeing Usman in that type of fight. Like he's had some wars in the past and stuff, and I know obviously he's had that losing streak, but dude, he got that was bad, bro. Especially from DDP, bro. DDP is coming up, bro. He wants that belt back from Chimaev. Am I interested to see the rematch? I'm interested to see the rematch. I think I read today that they're talking about setting it up with Strickland. Chimaev with Strickland. I'm sorry, not DDP. Would I be upset? I wouldn't be upset about that. To be honest. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one to call. But, dude, honestly, DDP looked like he improved his grappling defense so much, dude. The stance switching alone was made it so much harder to grab him. I don't know if that's going to work for Chimaev, because Chimaev, he will attack the body to take you down too. He doesn't just go for singles and doubles. Like he's fine with shooting for the waist and then getting his takedown from there, So maybe the stance switching might not be as big of a deal, but the kicking from the left side on the southpaw, I think that might work on a lot of wrestlers, dude. I'm curious to see if that might work, especially for the head, and then the knee down the middle. So there's some stuff, that I think that might make for an interesting fight against Chimaev. But we'll see. Chimaev wants Strickland. And yeah, I think that's it, bro. I talked for an hour and 16. I really gotta cut these down. I might just cut some of this in post. Thanks for watching. Check out the show. Goodbye.